Welcome back, friends. To steal a line from Dustin Nemo. Boy, I can't gonna be sharing many screens, but I'm gonna try to entertain y'all best I can. I've got the cat report pulled up over here on my tablet now, so we can talk about it. I had a couple of views on the first one. I'm extremely pleased. Extremely pleased. It's been a lot of hard work getting this cave ready to go, getting the internet down here, and boy, you just have no idea. But yeah, welcome back. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I just listened to a couple videos while I was gone. Got me a glass of water stuff. Listened to Nancy Morgan Hart talk about setting old President Trump up with this virus. Well, there's a lot to talk about in this virus, isn't there? I guess I got to keep looking down there. No point in looking up there at me. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. I hope you come to me. We're going to do a lot of this since I'm going to try to kind of quarantine myself away from a lot of these people out there that have no idea what's going on. You hear a little rattling going off. That's my little heater under the. Anyway, back to where we're at. This is one of my projects. This is one of the things I do around here, among many. Yeah, I make walking sticks. This is a piece of faux tinea that got trimmed off. I spent about a week. We've got, I think 8 faux tineas in our yard that really got out of hand. And I got this one up and said, this one's going to make a nice stick. So this is what we'll be working on today. Anyway, we're going to clean the bark off of it. I love wood. Really beautiful. Really beautiful. I want to give a shout out to CyberDoc who put the comment on my first video. Thanks for commenting, CyberDoc. By the way, I left you a message back, and the discussions I'm going to base my discussions on are on the cat report. And this cat report is at aimfortruth. Is on the cat report, and it's at aimfortruth.org. And I've got it pulled up over here. And we talked a little bit about James P. Chandler, and we talked about how Facebook was stolen from Michael McKibben. Michael McKibben is an engineer. I guess you would call him a software engineer. I guess he's been doing it for a lot of years, and they ripped the man off. Shame, 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 shame. But they do that to a lot of people, folks. Do that to a lot of people. They being those people we've entrusted to take care of us. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully some people around do woodworking, and we can learn some tricks from each other. Yeah, so we're looking at a coronavirus. There's a lot in the cat report about the coronavirus. It seems that they've been doing this experimentation for quite some years. I would say since the 1900s. If you look through the cat report, you'll find out that the British, and probably just about every government in the world now, has been manufacturing these bioweapons. Well, we're learning a big lesson now, aren't we? Yeah. Hey, damn skippy we are. We're learning that It only takes one crazy person, and look at what's happening. Here we have we have a mess on our hands. There's no doubt about it. We have a mess on our hands. You want to take one thing to learn out of all of this is you better get prepared to take care of yourself, because ain't no one coming to save you. You think your government's coming to save you, you're just going to be a casualty, folks. Just going to be a casualty. They are not here to save us. They're just here to collect the taxes and fill up their own bank accounts. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Trump will do it. We can only hope. We can only hope. So, this ought to be quite an interesting journey that we have to spend our time at home. You know, it's going to impact a lot of people. I don't know what you all do for a living. It's pretty much to wear a face mask. Uh-oh, my connection is unstable. That's interesting. I bet it's my heater kicking on and off. Time to shut that down. All right. For a while. It's going to take me a while to get my legs underneath me and get this live stream and be able to wear the shoes right. So, back to the coronavirus. Well, one lesson, some of the lessons from this are, like I said, you know, for a long time we've let our guard down, and I always believed that we could be going to the grocery store or to the farm, and you think about it, you know, all that can change, all that is going to change. We're going to have a new paradigm to live in soon. So I took the red pill at aimfortruth.org. It'll tell you about where these viruses have come from. I'll read you the headline or two on this, and you can search it out on your own. We'll talk a little bit about it. Baron Henry de Worms. De Worms, can you imagine being named Henry de Worms? Well, Mr. Worms' record of appointment to Queen Victoria Privy Council was on June 2nd, appeared from the web in official histories. Not even W.T. Steed mentions Rhodes' appointment in his 1902 biography. Download the files to stop this attempt to erase history. And the connection to British, what they're talking about here. I know a lot of people may not be aware of Pilbright and Mr. De Worms and J. Rhodes. These were all gentlemen back in the late 1800s and early 1900s that were in prominent English gentlemen who rose to power and were inducted into these institutes called got a lot of learning to do to catch up on this, and I wish I could start you at the beginning on China, this virus, this COVID-19. But the American Pilgrim Society, MS propagandists, This is all being ignored by the mainstream media, as well as most of the media. The patent for the coronavirus is owned by the Pilbright Institute. Pilbright, UK, US patent number, the US Department of Defense, DARPA, CDC, EU, World Health Organization, 2020. The coronavirus is traced to the British Crown back to, or like I said, the late 1800s, all the way to now. They've been experimenting on this, and if you were to go and live stream, I'd be talking for weeks. Heard one of their cat reports will take you a week to catch up on, and they put them out daily. So um, I think the best thing I can get out for yourself, but I'll comment on it as we go along. Again, I'm just getting my run my mouth. Ought to be a lot of fun. Be a lot more funner when other people start talking. That's okay. Uh, well, I'm sure I'll have somebody to talk to. Well, eventually. And until then, I'll just keep on rambling along. So we'll go back here a little bit further, and this is a whole dossier of where the patents originated from, done with them, who they were, the ruthless British takeover of South African mining, and the extermination of virus experimentation by Burroughs and Wellcome and Company. A close colleague of Baron de Worms and Cecil Rhodes on the opposition via the Second Boer World concentration camps of the French and the Dutch East India companies, as well as the German Hanseatic League. Well, you see, there's days worth of research there. I mean, I've been there. I've been doing it. And all I could do to give it to you guys is say, here it is. I mean, it's there. And the proof is in the pudding. The proof is definitely in the pudding. So, yeah, they have been known and actually proud of what they've done with all of these wars and exterminations. We think that the only extermination that really happened was in the Second World War. Well, I got news for you. They've been experimenting on us guinea pigs for a long time now. All those vaccinations you've been getting, they're all experiments. I just listened to Kathy at Cabin Talk. Boy, she's fired up. She her video, she's mad as can be. They're talking about having to have a vaccine record with you to fly now. Isn't that going to be something? Well, I don't think anybody's going to be flying for a while. I think with this, if this pandemic is for real, which all things are showing that it is, I think the airline industry is going to be having a few issues with capital and what would you call it? I guess participation. I'm not getting on any plane. Of course, I couldn't for the life of me figure out what would be so important to get on a plane. Could you? I guess. I guess. We've come such a long way in the last couple hundred years, haven't we? Wasn't that long ago? It was you wanted to cross the ocean, you had to get on a boat, sail across the ocean. Well, so be it. So be it. We have air flight. That there is a lot of dangers. I mean, we look at back in history with a lot of these tribes and things that were visited by the Europeans and supposedly the Mayans and so on and so forth. And it seems like every time the Europeans would show up, they would not be resistant to the viruses and the plagues that the Europeans carried in their genome. But are we sure it was in their genome, or did they always bring those little plagues and those little viruses along just in case they couldn't take over an island or a country? We sure are learning a lot lately, aren't we, about these people? Yeah, we look back at how they give the American Indians blankets full of smallpox. Y'all remember that? Well, where they or have they been experimenting all these years on the American Indians? Not just the American Indians, but all of us. I mean, I've heard stories that we were mm, actually colonized to get rid of to colonize the United States to get rid of the Indians for the English. That was their main mission for letting. But what I can prove is what's in these cat reports. These guys are amazing. They have documented this stuff. You just can't believe it. Pictures, places, dates, times. The black mark on the monarchy regarding weaponizing viruses at Pilbright is certainly a motivation to disappear records showing the Queen's intimate relationship to four of his or her power mongering privy councillors: Henry de Worms, First Lord Pilbright, Cecil, Lord General Roberts, and Viscount Alfred Minor. I bet you didn't learn much about those guys in history class. I guess the best way to relate it is if you ever seen the movie with Braveheart and seen how that king played his little treacherous games and so. Hi, Anne. Well, hello. And they had to take that away from us. We were getting way too smart. Anyway, very nice to see you again. And thank you for coming along and watching. Um, Ann Pearson, you'll see her comment. Yeah, she has a great channel too, and lots of good information. So stop by and see Ann when y'all get a chance. So anyway, back to my piece of wood here. This is real. That's the only thing I know right now. This is real. Anyway, so they've been poisoning us. I don't understand why I'd be buffering. I have a pretty good setup here. My speed was good. Hmm. Well, again, I got old technology here, and I don't know what else I can do. There's most everything I'm working with is 10 or 15 years old. I don't foresee much new stuff coming into us, but if you'll put up with me, I'm not doing much but sitting here rambling away. I want to keep. I don't know. We're going to be quarantined, so I think we can entertain each other. The world is a bad nightmare. And that depends on how you look at it. That really is depending on how you look at it. In a way, you can look at it as a world with ample opportunities to do good. That's the way I choose to look at it. You don't have to look hard to find somewhere to help someone or to speak truth or bring truth to people or help a homeless person. Uh, we could keep ourselves busy nonstop, just trying to do things that are good. So it does provide us that opportunity. Um, I think we can really make good out of this. Well, I mean, it made it hard for everybody to do things good. I mean, who has extra cash now? Who has cash at all? It's, I wouldn't, from my standpoint, disposable income, there isn't much. There just isn't much. So it's hard to do good with money. So the only other alternative is to do good with good deeds, help people out when you can. You can surround yourself with. You can surround yourself with things that aren't weaponized. You don't have to play the game. There's ways around it. It's tough, but you don't have to play the game. First thing everyone has to do is turn that TV off. Uh, yeah, it's hard to do good without resources, but I think there's plenty of opportunities if we think about it a little bit. And it involves a lot of work. You have to find the need. You have to find I'm sure, if you were to look through your neighborhood, I'm sure you could find some older folks that could use some help. Maybe even your family. It's a matter of doing whatever it takes. You go meet a neighbor, and when you have an opportunity to help them out, if it's cooking an extra meal, well, there you go. You're doing great. You're doing great then. So that's the opportunity to do good things. You know, we're not going to have money. And when this virus comes around, and we're going to be in for a pretty rough time. I'm really curious to see how it all works out. So you might as well get used to not having resources and money. You're going to have to we're going to have to pull ourselves up by the bootlaces and figure out a way to get through this. Help your neighbor plant a garden. We're going to have to come together as communities and families again. We can't, oh boy, this connection. It's curious. I have to see why I'm losing my connection. Your connection is unstable. And I'm on a hard line. I brought a hard line all the way from the house. And I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look into why I'm being slowed. Anyway, and anybody else, the other people that are here, aimfortruth.org. If you want to find out what's really going on, that's the place to go. That's where I'm going to try to. It's going to be a lot of catching up people have to do, but I think we're going to have a lot of time on our hands to do so. The good part about it is we're not going to go back. I don't put up with it now. I mean, they have no control over anything or anything I do. It's going to be for us. Let's see what you're saying. Your family's out for blood. You'll have to explain that one a little bit more. But, a lot of families have become very separated because of this. You go back to, I mean, they're so severed now. There's people with their eyes wide open and people that are still with their eyes completely closed. And there just doesn't seem to be any way you can reach one another. But families have split up a lot about it, and there's no doubt about it. I lost my last marriage over a lot of it. Ah, yes, the money thing that happens with if people only knew after they died the battles that fight for people's belongings. I've seen it. My goodness, have I seen it. In fact, we lost a member of the family. Yeah, you get the law involved, Dan, and the lawyers end up with most of the money and hurt feelings, and the family falls apart. This is definitely a terrible situation when it comes to inheritances. You kind of have to lay it on the get rid of it before you die. Give it to who you want, how you want, when you want. If it's any part, yeah, it's all about money. But if the person, take myself for instance, I'm no spring chicken. Till the day I'm gone, but when I'm gone, it's yours to do what you want with. So that's another option to inheritance because I've seen what damage it can do. And well, you're actually sitting here, telling me what kind of damage that there is, and it's it's extreme. Well, money is a big problem, man. Uh, it's our world's built on it, you know. So, oh boy, I don't know why this connection is so slow. Hmm. I don't know. Maybe I can slow this up a little bit if I close off one of these links here. Okay, looks like I'm back again. Must be a bad day for the internet because I was running great on the speed test yesterday. Our woes. Source of our woes. But it's changing. It is changing. You're changed. You've changed. I've changed. And, one thing I got to give to President Trump, he's opened up a lot of eyes, a lot of eyes that really, you know, their major weapon was the fake news. And now I think a lot of people are looking elsewhere. One of the reasons I'm out here on the internet now is there's so much fake news. I'm going to try to bring out what I can to the truth movement that I can. Yeah, it's kind of rainy here too. It's winter time. It's winter time. So what you been up to, Ann, other than fighting for money? I know you've had this big issue with some of the movie stars and their, yeah, Trump admits the fake news. Yeah, it's fake. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think we've pretty much proved that. Uh, it's curious to watch this battle back and forth, you know, but that was their main weapon. That's been their main weapon since the 1800s, late 1800s. That's what when you go to Aim for Truth, they talk all about how they corrupted all the journalists in the world at that time. They took and had a big meeting, pretty much corrupted every journalist into writing propaganda for them, and they've been doing that since. They have owned the media for the last 100 years. So the history that you know that you're studying for your MBA, you need to get a dose of real history of what's been going on. Well, I will say that you're correct about the presidents being selected. There's no doubt about that. They were selected for quite some time. Now, was Trump selected? I'm not going to get into that argument because I honestly don't know. I'll tell you, they do hate him. They do hate him. And I mean, I guess there was a lot of hate for Obama too, but I don't think it was to this depth. I mean, politically for sure. I mean, you didn't see all of this coming out of Polly. They didn't try to impeach Obama or any of those other things they're doing to Trump. So yeah, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe the after so many years of being lied to. You know, it's just I got into that conversation on the web today. You know, it's I can sympathize with people that can't believe into Mr. Trump or any of them. But what else have we got? You know, at this point, and where would we be? Where would we be if the other nominee or the other presidential candidate would have got into office? I don't know. I don't know. People are gonna have to make up their own mind on that. I mean, you can go. There's plenty of places to go and look, and he's done a lot of things. He's done a lot of things. Are people in jail yet? No. And well, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of workers. I mean, just look at how he's attacked now. Imagine when they shackle up James Comey or Hillary Clinton. Can you imagine? I mean, yeah, you'd have Trump followers going crazy, but can you imagine the other side? I mean, that would be, I mean, people would go nuts. The media would be vilifying him. Always put, I don't know how he can arrest him at this point. I mean, the only thing he can do is continue to let them expose their crimes, which, you know, look, think about the last 3 years. It's hard to look back, but I mean, it's all out there. All their crimes are laying. All you have to do is look. They're everywhere. The collusion, the dossier, uh, the impeachment effort without breaking any laws. Look at these fools. I mean, they're crucifying themselves with all the crime. it's it's kind of comical to watch. I'd have never thought that we'd have come this far with people waking up. Now they got this Q movement. You know, that's kind of. I think that's a op. You know, that's trying to keep people in the spin zone. But if you really get out there and start looking into what's been going on and see their crimes for what they are, there's a lot of them already exposed. I mean, big names. How many names you know now that you didn't know before? You know, what they did. And James Comey and his 28 crimes of treason. And you know, all this is on that AIM site I was talking about, aimfortruth.org. You can go on and all this stuff is documented. It's not hard to find. So the truth is coming out. And that's one of the reasons I'm here is try to get you guys to go in that direction, read this stuff, because I think there's going to be a big change. And I think that's one of the reasons they left this virus out, because they're afraid of us waking up. Man, can you imagine 350 million people waking up saying, you know what, you all been lying to us for a lot of years. Think about these congressmen and these politicians with millions and millions of dollars in their bank accounts. And, you know, they, think about it. When you talk about money, think about your, what is it you said here? Um, your sister's husband. Look what money has done to him. When you look at what money has done to these politicians, there's one thing we could talk about though, and that's this with this virus. Imagine, you know, the decisions that Mr. Trump has to make concerning this virus. Look at China. Look at what's happening there. Wow. I mean, look at their whole economy. Look at all these people boarded up, locked in their houses, not going to work, not earning any money, not paying their rent, not paying their light bills, not buying food. Wow. I mean, did they handle it the right way? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be Mr. Trump and have to be making these decisions right now. No, sir. I mean, if the virus is true, and I mean, I no biologist or anything, I can't tell you. I haven't seen anybody with the virus. All I can do is watch what you guys watch on the internet. But if it's true, what's happening in China, and that comes here, what's gonna kill more, the economy or the virus? I mean, you start trapping people in these cities like they did in China. You know what it's like to feed 1 million people? Think about it. Think about the effort that has to go in. When the trucks stop moving and the stores stop selling, I can see why they don't want to create a panic. Think about it. I mean, it's it's a scary, scary thing. So, yeah, I think the economic disaster would be worse, personally. Oh boy, I've not been to too many big cities. I've been to Baltimore, D.C., and so on and so forth. I haven't been into Los Angeles or New York City, but I, I just I just can't imagine being in a quarantine in a city like that. Here, I'd be lucky. Where I live in Virginia. I'm in Virginia. I'm in the foothills. Well, I guess you would call it the kind of the foothills, a little south of Richmond. Yeah, I thought you lived in Denver. I did thought you lived in Denver. Well, so when did you move to New York City or outside New York City? Anyway, think of Mr. Trump and the decision he has to make and things he has to call. There's going to be there's going to be there's definitely going to be a supply shortage. Whatever has come from China is not coming. Oh, okay. So you still living in Tennessee then? Okay. Well, you've been around, haven't you? New York City, Denver. Ah. Well, imagine New York City being quarantined like they did in China. Think about what's coming, folks. Masks for everybody. I don't know what the response is going to be. Maybe it's all a false flag. Maybe all we can hope is that it doesn't get bad. But I'm here to keep everybody company through the quarantine. I've actually quarantined myself as much as I possibly can. I've got my supplies ready, and when I don't have to go out very often anymore. Uh, Unfortunately, the other half that live here is in the healthcare field, so I may not have a choice whether I get infected or not. I would say that by the signs of things, I would say it's pretty rampant in America already. They just they don't have test kits to test for it, and I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's not going to take. It's not going to take long. We're going to see firsthand. There's no doubt about it. So the lessons you should learn though is to take care of yourself. To be always should always be prepared. At this point in time in the world, everything's kind of in chaos. We got earthquakes everywhere. We got volcanoes. We got hurricanes, tornadoes. Why aren't people prepared? Well, you can't really be, but so dependent on. I mean, yes, you may not have a lot of money, but to at least have some. I bought a bag of rice last night for 50 pounds for $17. Come on. And I'm sure if you're on food stamps, you could have bought that same bag of rice at 50 pounds to feed you for a long time. So I don't know why people aren't prepared. They should learn this lesson from this specifically. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have already learned their lessons from the hurricanes and so on and so forth. But this is really going to be a teaching moment. And I hope we all fare well through it. I hope we do. Do you like my new shop, Ann? We put this in about 2 months ago. It was a building. It was for sale. Ones back then, but I insulated it, wired it, lighted it, so on and so forth. It's going to be our hangout. It's going to be the cat hangout for the next 90 days of quarantine, and maybe even longer. I kind of enjoying this. I didn't know if I could get my legs underneath me to do this, but I guess I'll get better as time goes on. All right, Ann. Nice talking with you. Okay, folks. You like walking sticks? This is a piece of photinia. Pretty piece of wood. Pretty. Still alive. I got to let her dry before I can do much more with it. I got a lot of these. I got about 150 of them I've been making over the last few years. I put myself into volunteer retirement. Uh, I couldn't put up with the theft of my wages anymore, so I've become a homebody. I work a lot of yard sales, we'll say. Oh, anyway, I throat's getting dry, and I think I'm going to give this one a close it up for now. I've got to start dinner, and gonna have some ham bean soup. Froze that I froze a couple of weeks ago. Um, we'll get into all that too. Uh, I'm quite a ingenious cook. Like to cook and like to make different things. Keep the palate surprised, and I hope you all will join me. And for the four of you that are watching, hey, I really appreciate it. Y'all go to aimfortruth.org. That's where we'll be doing most of our discussions as I get my legs underneath me and figure all this technology out. So, y'all take care. Seven's out. Have a nice evening. Who knows? I may show up again.